Hello there, everybody. Welcome to today's session. I am currently at home in my studio. I am also broadcasting live to two areas. I'm going to YouTube and also to Zoom for EdChange Global. And today I'd like to talk about my passion, my goals in virtual augmented tourism and this project, which I'm so excited about. Been going on for roughly 2 years now, and it's starting to gain steam, starting to see some of the pedagoggical and just benefits to using immersive environments and augmented and virtual reality, even though we can't travel, even though we can't do exchange programs, we can't do overseas educational trips and things like that. So this project has been just really eye-opening as far as the benefits to using virtual reality in this way. So today I'm going to be talking about this project. We'll talk a little bit about the benefits of virtual reality, augmented reality, and also how it relates to these exchange programs, which have left a big hole in a lot of, especially in higher education programs, to get our students out exploring the world and enjoying and learning from each other, as we hope our students can do. Right. So let's see here. Just a little bit about me. My name's Eric. Please call me Eric. I During the talks today, my roles might come up in various forms, so I'll just quickly try and tell you a little bit about those. My day job is at the Kyoto University of Foreign Studies, where I was a founding faculty member of the School of Global Engagement, where I teach classes at the intersection of technology, tourism, communication, classes like digital literacy and immersive tourism workshop, game-based learning, game-based tourism, classes like that. I also head up and coordinate research for a very modest sized special interest research group here in Japan called MAVER, Mixed and Augmented Virtual Realities and Learning Environments. Most of our cohort is looking into using immersive technologies. Most of us are doing things in the language learning area. I founded my own app. It's called Orientation. It's won a couple of awards. It's kind of like a sandbox rapid prototyping tool to create augmented reality learning environments. And I'm a big proponent of TED, and I use augmented virtual realities with TED. TEDx Kyoto, one of the biggest events here in Japan, trying to create new ways to engage with media through that. So that all these things might come up today as I give you examples how augmented virtual reality is being used in various types of learning environments and the projects that I've done in the past. Just call me Eric, and just to kind of pop in here, let's see, I have two different chats going here. So we have a chat here in YouTube and also a chat in Zoom. So if you would like to chat, let's see here. I'm going to be looking at these chats from time to time. Probably be paying more attention to the one in YouTube a little bit more often. But if you have any questions today, I'm also going to be putting links and descriptions and extra information into the chat. And as far as the chat goes, I have kind of a guiding question for today. And that question is, will virtual reality motivate us to travel more or less in the future? So we're stuck at home in quarantine. Travel restrictions are still very stark here in Japan. Our incoming tourism is down 99%. That's back up now because of the Olympics, but that's a whole other issue we could talk about. But as we start to travel more virtually, we get more kind of robust and interactive virtual environments. Um, we're going to be starting to explore the world more virtually. We do it already a lot. Probably the biggest thing that everyone's used to using already is Google Street View. You know, you check out where you're going to be going down on the street before you go somewhere, and you travel virtually before you do it physically. And I believe there's going to be a lot of this happening in other ways as well. So now we're going to try to not just see what it's like before you go somewhere, get kind of like the experience of what you're going to be seeing before you go there, kind of prepare yourself mentally. Some researchers in our group has actually been practicing this, doing the research on this, on pre-departure cultural exchanges for students about 5 years ago, to see if you can travel there virtually, hear stories of people who are living there, see what it's like to, for example, walk from your host family's house to campus in a different country, relieve the stress, put your mind more on the things that you're supposed to be studying and the experiences that you're supposed to be taking in when you do these type of adventures. So what do you think? Put it down in the chat. If you could travel anywhere in the world virtually, is that going to motivate you to go there physically more or less? So you can put a hashtag on that. I might find it on Twitter, or you can put it in the chat, and we can get your opinions on this, because I think this is going to tell us a lot about the future of designing travel, virtual travel, real travel. We're going to maybe start to influence each other in the way we design these things, and the way that we practice things, and the way we promote them. And so there's a lot to learn about the future of virtual travel and real travel from this question. Here's a short video about the project. It's 2 minutes. Just tells you a little bit about what this project is in relation to my goals and those goals. All right. So my hometown project it started off as part of a immersive tourism workshop course that I teach here in Kyoto University of Foreign Studies. But since the pandemic started, we had to switch a couple of things. I'm going to tell you all about that kind of journey and the iterations this project has taken. But at its essence, it's training students to tell stories using virtual reality. Training students about the basics of immersive technology, augmented virtual reality, and things like 360-degree photography, video editing, all these kind of new media skills that students are going to be using more and more, especially in the tourism hospitality industry moving forward, getting them exposure to these technologies, but also getting them to talk about the thing that they know best. They're experts at growing up in their hometown. So we're getting them to kind of think about their storytelling muscle and connecting that to physical places, and so other people can travel there and visit these hometowns together. And there is something so intimate about taking someone to where you grew up, isn't there? That's one of the things that is just really hopping out in the students' comments, and other teachers and other countries now that are now involved in this project are telling us, is that it's deeply connecting people when you can sit on a bench and tell somebody about the first time you held uh, uh, your boyfriend or girlfriend's hand, or the first time that you went swimming in this part of the Sea of Japan, or the first time that you saw um, a particular type of weather, or some sort of experience, and we're connecting these to physical places, and you can share what it's like to grow up in your hometown. So we're getting a type of travel that you wouldn't get before the pandemic, right? So this has kind of accelerated the project and had us iterate it in much different ways. So we're training students how to use and create virtual tours. We're trying to grow that storytelling muscle, learning about technology and applying it to something that they're an expert on, and that's introducing and telling stories about growing up in your hometown. So now we've collected hundreds of these tours. You can take tours of places all over the mostly Asia and Southeast Asia. Most of them are in Japan, of course, because the program started here. But now we have uh, students coming in from all over Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Vietnam, Hong Kong, etc., etc. It's basically a course, and there's a couple of mini projects. There's a bit of scaffolding that happens, so we can get students creating the best tours possible to share with the world. So we talk about media design, some kind of background skills in immersive technology, how to take and use 360 photos, what's called an equirectangular style of photography. And then we go through a process of iterating on a tour. So iterative process of design. Start with something simple, share it with your cohort, your classmates, and get some feedback. And we do it again and again. And then the final process is we have a tour in which we are sharing with the world. And now, before you hop into this tour, even if you don't want to make a tour, you can see what it's like to be a student or growing up in places all over the world. And I'm going to share some of these tours with you, I hope, as we move forward here. Right, so we have a bunch of digital kind of tools and support systems to help students kind of through this process. The main, most biggest component of it is an online course that has a bunch of different digital and kind of support structures. We're using online chat systems like Discord and Line here in Japan to have students support each other synchronously, and then we have tutorial videos and walkthroughs and digital textbooks, all the types of the things, and that library of materials is growing all the time. And so we get students into the course and they start creating these tours. So I'm going to hop over to that just a moment here, hop over to our website. Right, so I put this in the chat, I suppose. Let's see here. Yeah, togetherlearning.com/myhometown is the link for this. I'm going to type that into the chat as well. Right, you can see some videos here, how to participate, but then probably the most interesting part is this map. And you can see tours. Mostly it starts here in Japan. We have a ton of tours. Because we're located in Kyoto, we have a lot of students that grew up in this particular area. So let's, for example, we'll go to a place called Toyoka City in Japan and take a tour. using a variety of different platforms, even developed our own for this next cohort that's coming for the fall
Hello,
to
my
host
name is
tours.
Akari Shibagaki. Welcome to my hometown, Toyoka City.
Shibaraki-san
Toyoka
is
City is
introducing her
located
hometown.
in northern part of Hyogo Prefecture, so you can enjoy both sea and mountain.
And another
It
good
is
thing to point out here
countryside,
is that
but this city has a lot of
English is not
history and
their first
beautiful
language, but
place. People
this
living
type of
there are
medium,
so kindly,
because it's
you
so
will feel
immersive
time
with
goes by so
video and
slowly.
360
If you ever
photos,
get tired
they're
of
able to
your daily
communicate
life, please
so
come
much
to this
differently and so
city
much
and
more
be
with
relieved.
less
This
complicated
scenery is
language, verbal
Kuruhirage
language,
Mountain.
um,
It's nice to hike
than they're
or
used to.
reach the
So
top by a
it's
cable car.
engaging to them as a
This
communication
mountain
tool
is
as well.
known for beautiful autumn leaves
Right? So she was
and sea
explaining
of
about
clouds.
the seasons and the beautiful seasons in this particular area. It's kind of a country town. I think it's
This
around
is
200,000
Kanlabe
people for this
volcano.
city.
This volcano erupted
There's a
700,000
volcano
years
here,
ago. Nowadays, we
museum.
can walk around the crater of it.
I wanted to take you
Hello,
to
my name is Akari Shibagaki.
the roadside because this particular
This is
example, I think.
Kanlabe
Oh,
volcano.
that's not it. Sorry.
Hello, my name is Akari Shibagaki.
Maybe this is it. Right. So when you take a tour, you go to
Here it's famous for
the
tasty egg,
most common places.
so
In
you
Japan,
can eat
before the
and buy
pandemic, we
some
had a big
kinds of foods
concentration issue.
using
People
eggs.
going to the same places at the
Eggs
same
using
time. So all the
here is
popular
very fresh,
temples and
and chickens
shrines
were
were
brought
getting
up
overcrowded.
eating
But with
non-antibiotics
this China
foods.
travel, you get
Every
to
day,
see a
there are
local
many people
and
and
learn about this very nice sweet shop
Ibankan makes
with
sweets
the
using
local
fresh
grandma,
eggs.
grandpa, mom and pop
All of
shop,
sweets
and
are
learn
very
about the
delicious,
particular
but
sweets that
I
they make here
especially
and
like
get,
a cream puff. A
recommendations. And you can
custard
see what it'd be
containing
like to
it
visit here
tastes
at the
great.
same time.
You can very
So
crowded,
students are adding all
so
these
I
personal
recommend
stories
you
and
to
their
take out the
recommendations
time.
for these local
By the
areas
way,
all over
the big
the world.
bear you can see.
Right? All right, let's go back to this part. Right. So, as an educator, as a researcher, I'd like to talk a little bit about kind of the process that this project went through and the things that we're learning through this project about using immersive technology in various educational contexts, different research approaches and methodologies that are coming out of this type of research, and what the students are saying and the teachers that are coming into this course are saying about it in different kind of thoughts through different lenses, right? So the project itself has gone through a bunch of iterations. It started off using Google Tour Creator. Some teachers may be already familiar with this, and Expeditions was probably the biggest um, and most popular tool for virtual field trips. But it's gone. So when I learned that it was going away last year, I quickly migrated over to another tool, and even that is showing signs of maybe not sticking around forever. And so now, starting in the fall, for our next cohort, I'm sorry, in August, I have my own platform that I developed specifically for this project to make the whole process as smooth and as easy as possible, just for the purpose of sharing a tour of your hometown, right? So the technology, the use case of the technology has gone back and forth, and this has happened to me a lot in the development of immersive technologies. Started developing an AR app I mentioned earlier, roughly 10 years ago, and I've had lots of issues trying to basically move that platform around different hosts and places, technologies, but companies get bought out, they start up, they fail. It's a really quick moving and volatile technology to be using. And so that's why I developed my own app. It's a lot harder. I never really sought out to be a developer, but now that kind of practice has kind of led me to go through that process again, especially when it regards to this project, because I'm really excited about it and I'm happy to be working hard to develop stuff for it again. Right, so I'm gonna invite you to take a couple of these tours at the end here. I have a kind of a tinker time. to go through with you. All right, let's see here. So that's the iterations, and this is what the first iteration looked like. So this is, I believe, 2019, 2018, and this was a face-to-face class using Google Tour Creator, Google Expeditions. Students would get into groups and start curating tours live to each other. One would have an iPad that looks like this, and they would be annotating, hey, look over here. This is the house where I grew up. Look over here now. This is the street where I first learned how to ride my bike, things like that. They'd be trying their best. I encourage, again and again and again, and in many ways, to share personal stories and connect them to the things that they're looking at. So they would take turns hosting and taking tours as a capstone project for this course called Immersive uh, Tourism Workshop. And leading up to it, they'd learn a little bit about photography, video editing, storytelling, all these kind of supporting skills. In the last 5 weeks of the course, they're actually going through the process of creating their own tours. In the last 2 weeks, they're having fun sharing their tours with each other. And so they get to travel, and they're saying things like, "Oh man, I know you so much better now that I feel like I've gone to see where you grew up." Right? Think about taking somebody home with you and showing them around your house where you grew up or your home. It's that type of kind of connecting activity for these students. But of course, this class was not face to face all of last year, and Google decided to sunset. They're really getting out of VR and AR. I'm not quite sure what Google's thinking. They sunsetted Daydream. Um, Cardboard is open source now. Expeditions, Google Tour Creator, and Poly have all gone away. And there's no indication of any of this stuff coming back. So that was a real disappointment. I wanted to move away from that into something else, and I started immediately developing my own platform for this. And so last year, it started to look a little bit more like this. So I created these kind of informal VR environments where students are represented by an avatar. We'd walk around these environments, and students would make digital promotional posters of their hometowns. And so we'd hop into this VR lobby, and sometimes you'd have that chance meeting of another student or me. I might be in there looking around, and you can actually kind of talk to people that are wanting to experience some of these tours. So then you'd walk around and look at some of these posters on the wall, and they're basically promotional posters for their tour. This one here is Arashiyama, Kyoto. Arashiyama is famous for the bamboo forest and something called Monkey Mountain Park, where you can go up and kind of hang out with the monkeys after you take a long walk through the bamboo forest. Kyoto is one of the cultural centers of Japan. It's the ancient capital. Before the capital was Tokyo, it was in Kyoto during the Edo period. So you can imagine all of the cultural significance and history that's in this city. And so you can hear some of the stories, look around, see some videos about that particular area. And then when you're done, you just hop back out and you're back into that lobby, and you can look at more posters. So that face-to-face kind of hybrid situation where you're using virtual reality but giving the instruction live face-to-face was then switched even deeper into virtual reality, using virtual reality as a hub, as a virtual classroom, a virtual lobby, a virtual kind of almost like an art gallery, from which students can start placing their tours, and then it becomes a place to where you can start to venture off into all these different places all around the world. And you can see it. There's hundreds of these posters, also put in an app and a website, but the students are saying it's much more fun. And this is based on Web VR. Web VR using the A-frame language. It's basically another language put on top of HTML, so we can just put this right on the web, which makes it awesome, very accessible to anyone with a mobile device, a PC, a Mac that has a browser. So this is very accessible, and we're happy that this was accessible to almost all of our students through the web, open web, using web VR. Right? So that's what it looks like now. So research-wise, we tried to look at a couple of different things. When you're talking about immersive technology, we want to know if it's doing good, if this really is necessary. Because if you want to tell a story about your hometown, you could do it with video, you can do it with a story, a blog, some pictures, traditional kind of PowerPoint type presentation as well. So we wanted to try and kind of see at least what affordances are above and beyond those other types of mediums. Not necessarily comparing them to other types of media, but what is special? What kind of things, what kind of skills are kind of being pulled out or teased at when we use these technologies? So we wanted to get a sense of presence. We wanted to see what kind of engagement students were getting with the media, not just with the process of making and sharing, but also connecting with their students when they have to do it virtually or at a distance last year, and the utility of it. Is this perceived as something that students think is a welcomed skill to learn and to use for their futures, for their careers, etc.? So we're looking at all these things. We did a couple of different questionnaires that we pulled from a couple of different reputable sources, if you can say that, and put together a questionnaire, exit questionnaire for that process. Now, we've done this at every iteration so we can see what, for example, the face-to-face and the VR lobby, and then next through the virtual course, what each step of that way kind of does to these kind of categories. One thing to mention also, using VR, it does have its drawbacks. It does have its limitations. We're still using virtual reality, so most kind of very older PCs, bandwidth is an issue for data, and bandwidth is an issue. It takes more data because you're sending more video, more high quality media through these through the web, basically. And so if you have poor connections, and really in Japan, we're finding that the digital divide is a lot bigger than we had ever imagined, because we're seeing now some of these students that are, even in Japan, a lot of people think Japan as being one of the technological places or centers in the world. There is still quite a big number of places where there's little to no Wi-Fi, or schools, a large percentage of schools with inadequate bandwidth. So also physical discomfort using VR for a extended amount of time. There's a little bit of calibration that's needed for specific users. Your interpupillary distance, the distance between our eyes, is different from person to person. And so if that is very different from the equipment that you're using, you're going to get some eye strain, some dizziness. And so you can't really use this for any long period of time. So that's why I'm suggesting these tours be limited to 5 minutes or less. And then we take a break, we talk, we switch, you go back to the lobby. Or you can not even use virtual reality headset like this. We do have cardboard available for our students that you saw in the video before. Some students already have these devices. I have plenty of videos about this particular device. I'm not recommending it anymore due to privacy issues that are not compatible with educational environments. I have a lot of resources about that. I'll put that in the link in the description for the chat. If you want to learn more about VR and security and privacy and advertising, a lot of those issues that I tend to think about and vlog about a lot on my YouTube channels. All right, so what are students saying about this, right? So like I said, it's connecting students in a virtual setting like really I've never seen before. One of the reasons why I'm so excited about this project. And we can see that students are excited, not just to share their own hometown, but they're getting sort of a sense that they know people a bit better than just video or reading or even talking to them, because they feel like they're living the life, they're experiencing the life through the eyes of whoever's telling the story. And we can see this time and time again through the research in our research group. VR is sometimes been described as the empathy machine. We, through research, we kind of have got hints that just to have the extra agency in this medium, being able to move your head and get immediate feedback, being able to use your body kinetically inside of this media, you connect to it at a level and perceive that information much more than other forms of media. So you're building empathy with the person you're telling stories to. One research project from one of our cohorts here in Japan tried this with academic writing, tried VR with academic writing. The topic for a particular semester was refugees. Japan has historically never taken many refugees. They do a lot of great stuff, going overseas, humanitarian efforts, but they don't really allow refugees to enter the country. And so, as a result, a lot of Japanese students, younger students, have never had the experience of meeting a lot of people from those situations. So she took some virtual environments of what it's like to be a refugee, to go be in a refugee camp, to try to leave your home and go out. There's a couple of different great VR experiences for this. One is related to leaving Syria and trying to go through Turkey into southern Europe. Another one is in the Sonoran Desert in the southwest of the United States, trying to get from South America into the United States, and what it's like, what you see and feel. And she found that the voice that the students that are after taking these tours, the voice from which they put their opinions into words in their academic writing was profoundly impacted by the students going through these VR experiences and living the life that it was to go through. So that empathy machine is also kind of seen in this project as well, connecting what it's like to be growing up, seeing an elementary school in a playground and hearing a story about, playing kickball or learning how to play soccer for the first time, and now they play it every day, et cetera, et cetera. So childhood memories, I'll go back to things like sharing childhood memories, rediscovering your own hometown through VR, and feeling present in that other person's shoes. Also, the main there is a kind of a consensus of the students that feel like this type of this skill of being able to create, design a tour would not only be probably beneficial in their career in the tourism and hospitality industry moving forward, but they felt like they were able to gain skills that were also transferable to live careers in the tourism hospitality industry, like tour guiding or destination travel marketing, for example. So there's a lot of different things that I think are transferable as well as you go through the process of curating, designing, connecting stories, creating basically an itinerary, a virtual itinerary to go through all these places. Really finding a lot of great kind of transferable skills there, and it's coming through from what the students are saying about this as well. All right, so I'm so excited. We're going to start a new iteration of this in September, and so I'm inviting you and your classmates and your students to get in and enjoy and participate in this with other students all around the world. We have some other students coming in from Indonesia, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and so you have the ability now to join. You can go through the course with some students, or you can ask them to join individually. They can learn how to create augmented and virtual environments and share their stories of their hometown as we start to kind of curate and collect this collection of tours for all over the world. So I'm going to put some links in the description and in the chat for about that. And you can learn more by going to my hometown tours. All right. So also, just to get some value out of your experience with me today, if you want to come play, I'm offering a Tinker Time session and a certificate of training. But uh, signing up to get this certificate will also sign you up to get more information about the My Hometown project and get information so you can keep up with the next iteration of this project, so you can get involved and get your students involved. All right. Also, if you want to stick around, I have some activities for us to have some fun. I have a discussion where we're going to learn a little bit about you and your perceived use of augmented and virtual reality. You can take a virtual tour of a student's hometown tour. I have a very fun hands-on VR web VR experience where you can come and actually stand on my desk virtually, and I'm going to look down on you as the little people running around on my desk. It's really kind of interesting. And you can check out my augmented reality app in an activity as well. So there's 4 activities um, for the pretty much the remainder of my time with you today. You can stick around and ask questions through the chat for this activity. I'm going to briefly introduce them and then start going through the activities. And then if you want to stick around and participate in them, you can. And we're going to have some kind of basically some fun time together. Let's see here. Tinker time. I put this in the YouTube chat as well. Task 1. Task 2. Task 3. All right, let's go through these one by one. First one is basically just a simple Google form where it basically asks you, how do you feel like you can use augmented virtual reality or this particular project in your class? What are the biggest obstacles to using it in your situation? If you want to teach or use it for different situations, etc., etc. And then I have the answers here, which I'll be going through and getting your responses to those and commenting on them as we move forward in the session. Right, and you can check out the My Hometown project. You can take some of these tours. The link leads you to this page, and you can come down to the section of the map and take some tours of students and their creations. Third one is you can hop in, and this is actually my desk. You can hop on and look at my desk and come in this virtual environment, and you can actually see me on my monitor of my screen. It's hard to see it right now, but let me see if I can show you. Hmm. So as you hop into that particular environment, you can actually appear as an avatar on my real desk, and you're at a virtual desk. I've been really playing around with mixing virtual, augmented, and real environments together in sort of hybrid and mixed reality learning environments. That's where I think this is all heading. And so I've been experimenting with that a lot. All right, so let's see here. For the next however minutes we have, in the official session, I invite you to look at those links and try out a few of them. If you want to move on to another session, if my time is up, you're able to do that as well. And I look forward to hearing your questions in the chat. And most of all, I thank you for your time today in letting me share my passions with you. My Oh, thanks, Tommy.